Okay, so the correction that we're looking at down through here so far is in three waves, as an A and a B and a C, and it looks like this rally that we've had overnight is clipped back over here. So to call this, the only bearish move we could look at this at is down for one, back for two, down for one, and back for two. So that's we'll look at it like that. We'll also look at it in terms of an A, B, and C wave down here as an A wave, and then up for the B wave, and then down for the C wave here. Now, we need to tie this in with the other markets around the planet. So starting with the US dollar here as the so this move that's moved up through here, we've been looking at it in terms of an ABC pattern here. If I can just grab these here, and then the ABC pattern, and then this little move in here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave one. While this has been pulling back, we've seen the Australian market, the US market, and stocks and things rally. But we have to be mindful that this can turn in this space here. We can also see that the stochastic's kind of, just doing some biding its time here and would like to push up. The worst case scenario is putting wave C over here for wave B here, and then putting this B over here. So this would be an A wave here, an A, B, and C here for the B wave, and then down for the C wave, and then up. So there may be more time for other markets to rally while this is pulling back if it comes this far. If this little high here or any of these highs up here get taken out by a move up here, then you know that that the rest of the markets around the world will basically be pulling down at that point. So this has moved back down here, and it's given some space for indices to move up, but we still know that we have 5 waves here, and we're looking at some correction, either the B wave here or the B wave over here, and then a move up. So when this moves up here, we're going to see the rest of the markets move down. Now, the opposite to this, of course, is the euro dollar, and the pound and the Aussie. They've all got basically 5 waves down, coming down. I won't look at them at the moment, but we'll look at the Aussie a bit later, but they've all got 5 waves coming down, right? So they're in the processes of rallying here. So that'd be the mirror opposite. And then we've got commodities. So as you know, with gold, GDX or US spot gold, we've got 5 waves down that we're looking at as an A wave here. It actually hasn't started to rally yet, but it should rally very shortly. So that needs to move up here. So I'm thinking while that needs to move up here, that will give this a little bit more space to move down here, because this hasn't reached. The reason I'm putting this over here is because the B wave gold hasn't reached its B wave yet, and so maybe this hasn't reached its B wave yet here either. We know that B waves, they're like wave 4s. They can be simple or they can be complex. So we'll see here. There's only 2 real things that can occur here. If it had taken out the high here, then I could have brought wave C down here, but it didn't take out the high. So this high is still under this one, and this is a corrective pattern in here. So yeah, I suppose we could look at it as bearish, as down for 1, an A and a B and a C for 2. That kind of works, I guess, but that's too early to tell at this particular point in time. It's possible. So we'll just put that there, and I'll just mull that over a little bit further, and then that means that if that was just going to give that 5 waves up here, then that must be part of wave 4 over here. So that brings in a whole other dynamic and would come down at that point. So if you know the trading levels, getting support on top of group 1 here, so from trading level 1 here, then 1, 2, and 3, getting support here is always a little bit of a journey. But once if that gets triggered here, that pushes up. then everything else comes down at that point. So we're getting 5 waves down from gold, for gold and the euro, and other markets I can't think off the top of my head at the moment, but we still need the B, well, Amazon, but we still need that B wave completed, and we still need to come down. Now, in a lot of cases, that B wave is being sort of is well on its way in some markets. So yeah, we don't have 5 waves down here. Maybe there is, and I just can't sort of see it at the moment. But as it stands as a 3-wave move, it is possible for it to continue up here. But really, it's quite a nice 5-wave structure up here. You know, I mean, it got a bit complicated here, but you can see that, you know, we've got the beginning, the building process, we've got the middle where it's strong, and then we've got the end where it sort of overlaps and, you know, ties out. So, but it hasn't pulled back to its 50-60% over here. Not that I expect it to do that, but yeah, we need a bit of a correction here. It's still a little bit small in terms of time and price for all of that. So I'm thinking that we'll go back up and test the resistance back up here, the supply, the sellers, and then move down to that point. So I think that we're still over here for that move, and let's just go straight to 100 ticks and bring in a bit more data on that. So there we are over here. There's 2 ways to look at this. We can have it as this wave 1 or this wave 1. And I've been counting down here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I'm okay with. And then the ABC correction, we can look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But really I've only got 3 waves down here. So we'll probably need to look at this here as an A wave here, a B wave up here, and a C wave down here for the A wave here. And then back up for a B wave. Yeah, we need to talk about this a little bit. So those 2 lows there are pretty much equal, but based on this count here, this would be 1 and 2 here, or an A and a B, and going back up for a C. So we can really, you know, this is the 61.8%, so we can go that high. We could also go into the 61.8% and the 50, so that brings in the 75 number here. So that would be a bit of a door stopper there at that number. So what I'm thinking is this B wave can go up into this space and then come down into this space. Now, what I'm also thinking is that, well, because you've got this in 3 waves here, right, as an ABC pattern, that's corrective. So that means that, well, is it possible to put wave 2 there, or some, you know, is it possible to put wave 2 under here for that? You know, is that the go? Well, if that's the case, let's just play with that idea. Let's just move these here. That means that this would be wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then we would have wave 3, 4, and 5. So somewhere along the line, we would have wave 3 and 4 here, and then there would be wave 5. So if we get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, then we're going to get an ABC after that, aren't we? So we'd get some sort of ABC here, and then we would push up. So the long trade would come over here for this. Or if we can identify 5 waves here, then we could buy, you know, the 50-60% pullback in this space here and move up at that point. So going long here into supply, all this, you know, 75 number here, was a bit of a trap. So I'm not prepared to call in any trades at that point. I would do it over here if we got 5 waves here and we got a trade set up, and especially on this particular number here. I do understand that it's in 3 waves, and because it's in 3 waves, it can go higher and take out the tops here. That means we'll call wave 2 in here, but it's a little bit small for wave 2. And then the other thing that bothers me is the gold market, you know, which is quite clearly, and the Aussie market, you know, like I mentioned, they are all 5 waves down. They need a rally, and then they need another 5 down. So I just don't think it's over, you know. I just don't, this B wave could get complex here and it could take out the low here and do all sorts of things. But I still need that move up here because I got 5 waves here. So, and then the gold market's telling me I've got 5 waves down here, and the euro and the Aussie and all of those. So I just don't think this US dollar to the upside is completed yet. That's what I'm thinking. So I think that this is a bit of a trap here. Look, like shit, I mean, I could be wrong. Don't worry about that. I just got to kind of, try to understand as much as I can. So I'm still not going to call in a trade. I understand that we could be bullish from this point. So I'm just going to bring this back over here for this, and say that we're not finished. The other thing that we talked about early in the video was something of this being down for 1, back for 2, and then going down further at this point. Well, in that case, this is the 61.8% up here, and then you would need to look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. Count 5 waves up there. That's a little third, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a third, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very close to the top there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there'd still be another move. There'd still be this and that to finish that off, because I would need to take this here as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here. So this would be the, borrowed this would be the A, the B, and the C wave here at minimum. So that would bring us into that space there for that, if that was the case, if this was down for 1 and back for 2 here. I mean, it's quite normal for a market to, because we're at the 75 number, and the market's come down, it's vibrated here, the battle for the bulls was lost, it dropped, and it's stretched out, and now it's coming back to check that supply at this point, So this is another battle going on here. So we've got to see if it's going to win the battle, then it will find that 75 as the support. If it can't do that, well, then it'll fail and move back down here, and then it will try to retest that supply again at that point, because we still don't know if we've got this wave 1 here and this wave 2 here, which I think is the case, based on what I can see with gold and so on. But it does leave space for a bigger wave 1 up here and wave 2 back as well. So we need to be a bit careful about that. But that's kind of where we are. I'm thinking that, there's a few things going on in the US over the next few days. In the next session, they've got the CPI figures. Now they think everything's going to be, nice and calm and everything, but that's what they thought about the employment figures, which basically doubled. So anything could come out of left field. And then they've got there's news items on Wednesday and Thursday. So a bit of a volatile time coming up. So be a little bit careful. Not ready to trend this market just yet. This correction to me is just not big enough. In a lot of the markets overseas, I can see that we could put this here as a wave 4, but I don't really see that here in this market. We've already had a nice sort of move up and everything's sort of accounted for. So I think we're still in the correction, but I just can't put my finger on it at this point. And, when I look at CBA here, we've been waiting for the turn here since day dot. And looking at this as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, I know I could look at it a little bit differently. We could look at this as, 1 and 2 here, and then the whole third wave here in some way with 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for third, fourth, and then the fifth wave here. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the wave 4 pulled back a little bit. But then again, big numbers do that. They pull the market to themselves. But anyway, we're getting that little turn here for this. So that's sort of interesting, isn't it? So we'll run with this. Of course, at this stage now, what we can do is we can put that top in here, and we can just paint the town green, and we can go long above that, and we can also look for better setups. But those few little days here, There's quite a few days there really, but in terms of time, it's okay for the correction to be wave 2, but in terms of price, it's not really good enough for a wave 2 to correct this here, let alone if we put this up here. Do you know what I mean? And we're back over here for that. But anyway, one step at a time. We want this to develop and we want it to mature so we can, have a guess at what the structure is. I won't go to the intraday today, but it's basically taken a while to do all of this. But yeah, I felt like we've done the right things at the right time, and we haven't been rushed into it, and we're just waiting for it to show us a correction here. Well, what we want to see is we want to see this as a corrective, as a bullish corrective pattern, and then we want our trade set up and those sorts of things. So we're not there yet with this, and the resources are, just to help the ASX along in its journey pulling back. The ASX, the resources rather, are on doing the same thing as well. So I mean, slightly different. This has been from the sort of October lows, but this one is in late October. So. The US dollar topped out on the 28th of September. The gold topped out on the 28th, or had the low on the 28th of September with its run coming up here. So the iron ore was a bit later, but we've got that, we've seen it being rolling over here. You've seen I've been a little bit confused about the top, which doesn't take a lot to confuse me, and but we sort of stayed with it, and we want this wave 2 here, and we're wondering if this is the A wave here, the B wave and the C wave. It would probably do the opposite and go up now or something like that, but we've been sort of patient here, which has been reflected back over here for our stocks in Australia, and what we've been waiting for now is pretty much the same as the other markets really. We've been 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 5. We want to make a new low. We want to be able to count 5 waves down. If we can count 5 waves down, then we're going to have a B wave and then a C wave here. So that kind of gives you a bit of a picture too of, the A wave here took, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then wave 4 gets a little bit sort of complicated. So we've got, say 10 days. So this could be, time, it could be a month, which is 20 days in terms of trading days. Normally we get a bull run on the 21st of March, the equinox at that point, There's a bit of a history of that date in all of that. So maybe, we'll see how this plays. It could be before that, after that, but, sometimes it's spot on. So anyway, just a date that's sort of out there on that. But so let's just see how that goes. There's nothing really to do here. I mean, you can't even short it because you'll get caught in the B wave later, unless you want to hold through all of that. It won't be too painful, but we don't have 5 waves down here yet. So you're better off just waiting to get 5. And if we get 5 here, then we'll get some type of correction that'll come back to wave 4 at least, and then we'll get another 5 down. Rio's a little bit different, but still kind of wanted to, I could put the A wave here and the B wave here and the C wave here, but it'll put it too far in front of the other market. So I'm just going to leave it skewed a little bit here and allow it to mature a little bit. Looks like the stochastics want to pick it up at this point. There is support there for that. The iron ore hasn't really dropped just yet, and Fortescue's here, so look, it's just sort of hanging up there really, isn't it? It's been there for quite some time, but I'm quite sure now that we've got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for this. So maybe, I'd like to see a low drop in past here. That would be very helpful. This move up here seems to be corrective in 3 waves. So maybe today we drop through that low here for that. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see it, but it'll be lined up with the other resources as such. So it's just not there yet. Over to the over to the lithium stocks. So with this one here, the PLS here, so we figured out, thanks to Jason, there's only two stocks that are producing lithium. The rest of them are explorers. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm just trying to figure it all out myself, and I don't have a lot of time to research. But in this case, we've got this 1, 2, 3 here, looking for wave 4 and then up for wave 5. Now, I'm thinking that we could get caught out here. That's why I put the stop under this low here, because from this point, we couldn't look at it as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down for 5, and then an A and a B and a C here, and then down for 1, back for 2, 3, 4, and 5, in line with BHP and all of those. So you may or may not want to get out here for that. So we need to be a bit careful. So PLS and IGO are producers, so we need to really sort of, I think I'll sort of focus on those guys a little bit more than the other markets. But I do want to have a look at LTR, because we've been looking at that as well. And this is LTR here, and I just want to give a bit of a warning sign here as well. This is a 15-minute chart, and from the low here we counted up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then we had a correction, which is good. So then we knew we'd make a new high, and we have made a new high, and it does look like 5 waves up there. It's just a little bit dodgy, but in the same time, it's sort of looking like, at this stage, it's looking like some sort of ABC pattern here for this. I'll bring this back into minute degree at minimum here, so at least, so we could end up with this here. So what I'm sort of saying is we've got this little trend line through here, and then from this low to this high here, this box here is the 50-60% retracement level. It does kind of look like we're getting 5 waves down here, so that's a bit of an issue. So I'm thinking that we could drop a little bit lower, retest that, and then come down here. If we do come down, we're going to end up at $1 down here at $1. I would imagine. The long trade for this, by the by, is really taking out something a little bit higher up here for that. Something up here for that. So yeah, it's just not looking very good as an impulse wave to the upside, you know. I mean, because the only other way to count it is up for 1, back for 2, up for 1, back for 2 here. But I'm not really getting an ABC correction in here. I mean, that looks a little bit impulsive here. This is impulsive. This is impulsive. It's probably down for 1 and back for 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and so a bit more to come down. So yeah, not looking good. So you might need to think to get out of this one. I wanted to have a look at Focus. Also wanted to give a warning sign on IGO as well, if I can probably scroll past it here. And just going to go to the weekly chart first, or the daily chart. Let's go to the weekly chart here first. So this is log scale. Okay, so with this log scale here, what I can say is, I don't know about all of this here, but we've definitely got an A wave, and then an A and a B and a C wave for the B wave, and down for the C. This here makes a new low below here, so that we can look at it all as being, well, I suppose we could look at that as 1 and an A, B, C back for 2. Can I do that? Let me think about that for a second. Not really getting it here though. It's giving me more like 5 waves here as 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th as a C wave for the B. I'll give that some thought. I mean, it's a bigger picture kind of thing, but all this up here, it looks like we could have a possible top in play here. So I'm just going to go to the daily chart and just show you quick. I just did a count on this morning, so we need to go back over it and tweak it. So basically, this as wave 1 here and 2 here. The wave 1 and 2 is really good because it's sharp. The problem with this is that this up here is a 5 wave move here. We've got overlapping wave structures here. I know that breaks an Elliott rule, but because this pulled down here lower than this one here, there's no other way to count it. I don't think that, I'm a bit of a diehard Elliott sort of traditional sort of person, but I also understand too that Elliott, didn't. The markets were more stable in his days. The derivatives weren't as proficient. So there's markets that he did it on the Dow Jones where there's plenty of volume. I know that he did had other things going as well, but he did them on not when you've got stocks that have got low volume, and then you've got leverage, you're going to kind of break some rules at certain times, but I don't see any other way to count this as wave one here. So I think breaking that rule is wave four overlapping wave one is, if it's really obvious, if this wave four here took out wave two, well then that would be just crazy at that point, So, there might be another way to count this in terms of 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2, and that would give us wave 1 here and 2 here. And I can't get it out of here though, I can see the structure. So, and there's such a nice wave 2 here. So I'm thinking that we've got wave 1, that's the low of the other correction at that point. So unless we look at that as a triangle pattern, that's possible. Let me just go back and think about that for just 1 second. I won't take up too much of your time. I'll just while I've got it there. So an A, B, C, D, and E here. Bit of a long shot with that taking the top out there. Not really on it. I think I'll just, for the time being, I'll just stay with it. But if anybody's interested, I'm happy to shoot the breeze over this one, because this is a Chinese-backed lithium stock. So we've got 1 and 2 here from wave 2 here. We've got 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and then I've got all of this here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the third wave. A little bit sort of complicated in here. We may need to tweak this a little bit, but I've got 3, 4, 5 here for third wave, fourth wave, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the third wave. So more importantly, we've got this fourth wave here, and that would leave us with the fifth wave here. So if that's the case, then this can come back down to here before going up again. Back down to this wave 4. The only other thing is this a wave 1 and back for wave 2 here and then moving up? So we'll keep a bit of an eye on this. But if you're in this stock here, I'm just letting you know that we could see lower ground here as wave 1 here, and then 2, and then 3, 4, 5 coming down here. And that may not be the end of it at this point. I'll just put it into this wave 4. That normally is the case at that point. But yeah, there could be a bearish move in lithium. We know there's a lot of short sellers in lithium at the moment. It's kind of a rock and a hard place, isn't it? Because there's just not enough lithium for the amount of batteries that are out there. But the battery technology is changing too, so maybe that's what they're betting on. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I don't see a long trade set up here. All I see here is risk in holding this particular market at this point. But we'll keep talking about it, and anybody who's got any ideas about all of this count, then shoot them through and I'll share them, and we can take it from that point. Okay, so I'll leave it at that today for the lithium, because we've talked about that, taking a bit of time. This is just the Vanguard emerging markets here, and I'm just waiting. It's been in a big bearish market here, but I'm just like the Australian market. I'm just waiting to see if we've got wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here for this, So I'm just keeping an eye on it, and you know, if this top here gets taken out, well, then we'll be bullish from that point. Maybe we'll get a better bullish picture. Maybe we'll drop down here, and then we'll have an ABC pattern here for this, and then move off here. I'm not quite sure just yet how this will play out. It does look like something like this here needs to play out a little bit further. So yeah, I mean, obviously we can look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for some type of correction and come down from that point. I understand that. But at the same time, we need to just keep an eye on it and see if what we've got at this point with this market. So not a biggie, but yeah, there's a lot of countries involved in this particular market. Okay, to the gold market. Very clearly, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video with the US dollar, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. We counted this the other day. We haven't seen this rally coming up into the B wave yet. That's why I was wondering about the US dollar here. Have we reached the B wave here? But I've got to kind of reflect this back into the euro. But this is the gold thing over here. We've got 5 waves down here. We're looking for the B wave and then the C wave to come down. So when this C wave comes down here, this market will be pushing up at that point. But we don't have the B wave in here yet. You know, and we looked at this here on 50 ticks, I think, yesterday, also at another market. Yeah, so as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. So I don't have we're probably starting it at this point. I haven't really pulled this apart here, so there can be another low, but we still need that B wave here and that C wave to the downside. And this will be the same for US spot gold as well. Let's just go in here and have a look at this on, because we haven't seen this move down here yet. 100 ticks, it's not going to be too much different. So let's just go in and get a bit more data on this. So that's the top. Doesn't really finish off in 5 waves here, does it? It could be a little bit differently. Unless that's the 5th wave. There's definitely 3 waves there, isn't there? We'll have to check that out. But as far as the crow flies, we've got nice structure down here. So we've got wave 1 and 2 here. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this will be the 3rd wave down. This will be the 4th wave coming across here for this. It's rather large, but we do have that 1, 2 here, 3 here, 4 here, and that's the high here. So that's interesting. So what have we got here? That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks like 1, 2, 3. I'm just trying to work it because it looks like this is wave 1 here, 2 here, and we're going down for the 3rd here, but it's reluctantly wanting to go down. I mean, that should be the low here for this. I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, but unless we're going to look at 3, 4, and 5 here, and then we go up here. But we definitely got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to here. So probably this is just, that's what I was wondering. I wonder if this was wave 1 here, 2 here, and then the 3rd wave, the 4th wave, and the 5th wave, and then we go up, you know. I think it could be something like that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We can't short it. We can't go long. We need to wait for the B wave to, you know, come up here somewhere, and then we'll come down for the C wave at that point. So that's where US spot gold is at the moment. But yeah, I need to just get my head around this last little bit here. I need to really go in and check that there, but I don't want to take up time doing that because it doesn't matter. It's not like a trade setup at this point. We need that B wave to come in, you know. And then we'll have the C wave come down. So we definitely got 5 waves down here and possibly to here and possibly, well, either to here or down a bit further. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that's what we're looking at this point for that B wave. That's why it's kind of interesting with US spot gold here. I wonder if we've actually got that B wave in here, you know. So if I take this here, roughly speaking, this is the actual 50-60% down here for that, you know. So it'll be interesting if we pull down to here, you know. It's always a puzzle, isn't it? Pulling it all together. Anyway, that's gold. And Newcrest mining, you know, it's chucked that little wobbly, so we're just waiting to see. You know, I'm just wondering when the other markets, when gold does its B wave to the upside, will we get another high here for this? Or are we just going to pull back and pull into here somewhere and then go up? I'm not quite sure, as I mentioned yesterday. It does look like 5 waves here, of 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 and 5 onto that high there, you know. I don't think it's going to hurt to own some of this, to own some gold stocks anyway. Okay, so this is the Australian dollar. Now, this is like the inverse to the US dollar here. We've got this A wave here, and we've got this A wave here. We've been toying with the B wave being here. Is that correct? If that's correct, then that's 1 and 2. But this one here, I'm thinking we're not really getting the, because I had this here as wave, I can't remember now, but as wave 1 and 2 here, moving to the downside, but that's not happening. So that means that something else is happening. So, I mean, that looks like 5 waves in here to me, to there, to there. So this is some sort of ABC pattern. So it looks like we're just going to get a bigger correction across here, you know. This will have to come over here. This will have to come here. This A wave will have to come over here. I'll need to see how I can look at that a bit better. So this will need to come up here. This B wave will need to come here. This will need to come here or here. I'm not quite sure at this point. But yeah, it looks like it's going to do, you know, it needs to do this and then come down here for this. I mean, don't forget, because we got this 5 waves here and we haven't made a new low here, that means it puts this as a corrective pattern. And so this is just doing some time here. And if this US dollar does come down to here, then that's going to give that some space to go to the upside here. So just going, so the B wave has just gotten, it appears that the B wave has just gotten a little bit more complicated. The only other way that I could lay this out in terms of keeping wave B over here would be looking at this as wave 1 here and wave 2 over here with an A wave, a B wave and a C wave up here for wave 2, and then coming down for wave 3. So it would just be a little bit shorter at that point. We'll have to see how that plays out. But like with all of the markets, I'm really looking for this wave C over here. This is where the trend starts at that point, you know. We're just not there yet. So yeah, some markets move quickly. Some like this just sort of hang around and bide their time, I guess. And then they'll all move together when they need to move together, and then they'll all turn together and there's nothing to trade, and then there's everything to trade. It's how it is. So that's where we are with it. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.